O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. If you just learn how to say this verse over and over again, your heart will become set on fire and you'll learn to burn with the love of God. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to Contemplata, a podcast for contemplative souls. Over the last couple of episodes, we have been speaking about short prayers, javelin prayers, those little prayers we send up to God all throughout the course of the day. They're very powerful, and they can help us to receive the recovery and the renewal of the eyes of our hearts. God is always working in our lives. God is giving us His grace from one moment to the next. God is working to heal and to renew our understanding, our awareness of His presence, living and dwelling in us by grace, but also how He lives and works in the world all around us. And we can respond to His grace by sending up these little prayers all throughout the day. One of the greatest examples of short prayers or javelin prayer comes down to us from one of the great books of Christian literature, one of the most formative books in the history of the Church, the Conferences of John Cassian. The book was read by monks and religious for many generations. St. Dominic himself was an avid reader of the Conferences of John Cassian, and so was St. Thomas Aquinas. The Conferences of John Cassian are basically a collection of stories or interviews between John Cassian and a number of the desert fathers in Egypt in the 4th century. And as John Cassian and his friend Germanus traveled around, they met many different Abbas and interviewed them and asked them things about the spiritual life. The 10th conference is one of the most famous of the conferences, and it's about prayer. And in this conference, John and Germanus approach Abba Isaac, and they ask him to teach them the ways of prayer. After he gives them a commentary on the Our Father, he can see that they're very zealous to learn how to pray. So he tells them there's a certain secret way to pray that has been handed on among the desert fathers of Egypt. And he wants to let them know what is this secret way to pray. It's a very powerful way to pray. Well, John and his friend Germanus are very interested and intrigued, and they eagerly want to learn this secret way to pray. Perhaps they were expecting something magical or something wonderful, something stellar or mystical or something like that. But in fact, what he reveals to them is a simple verse from the Psalms, from Psalm 70, verse 1. O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. If you just learn how to say this verse over and over again, Abba Isaac tells them, your heart will become set on fire and you'll learn to burn with the love of God. So the prayer is perfect for all circumstances, he explains to them. If you are tempted by gluttony or lust, what do? You just say, O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. Or perhaps you're very distracted in prayer and you find it hard to settle yourself and really talk to God. What do? You just say, O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. Or perhaps the amount of work that you have before you is overwhelming. What do? You ask God for help. You say, O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. Or perhaps you settle down and you want to read Scripture. What do? If you want to read it with profit, you ask God. You say, O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. Or perhaps thoughts of anger are boiling in your heart or in your mind in some way, and you're struggling with that. So what do? You say, O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. In other words, this prayer is suitable for all circumstances, even in times of our lives when we feel very blessed, when things feel like they're going very well. We should pray that they continue that way. And we should say, O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. In other words, whether it be rain or shine, it's the perfect prayer. O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me. And we should learn to say this over and over and over again. And not only should we learn how to say it, we should learn how to meditate upon these words. They're very significant. You and I are always in need of God's help. And at the same time, God's help is always there for you and for me. This is something we easily forget. We easily forget that we need God's help for everything, and we easily forget that God's help is always there for us. So by continually repeating this prayer over and over in our hearts, we live in the memory of how much we need God, and also we live in the confidence and in the faith of how God is always there for us to help us. It's as simple as just simply saying, "O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me," and meditating on these words. This instruction by Abba Isaac was so moving that when other saints read this conference, they were struck by it powerfully. And in fact, it has come to affect the church down to this day. When Saint Benedict read this conference in Cassian, he was very moved by this exhortation to say this prayer all the time. "O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me." That Saint Benedict himself wrote it into the Liturgy of the Hours. And that's why to this day, when you and I begin one of the Liturgy of the Hours, we always begin with the prayer, "O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me." The understanding is that you and I will be saying this prayer with some frequency over the course of the day, so that when we come together to pray the divine office, we're not beginning something that's new or that we otherwise are not doing, but rather we begin to do together in the divine office the kind of prayer that we're continually doing secretly or privately in our own hearts. In this way, there's a coordination between the liturgy of the church and the prayer that takes place in our own hearts. We want there to be a kind of synchronization or a harmonization between the prayer life that we lead in the depths of our hearts and the prayer life of the whole church. So by adopting this prayer and making it your own, your interior life can come to synchronize with the prayer of the church, the external prayer of the church. But also you and I can learn to live in a state of dependency upon God. We can become humble and learn to count on Him all the time, for everything, in all circumstances. It's as simple as repeating this prayer, "O God, come to my assistance. O Lord, make haste to help me." And it's as simple as meditating on this prayer, how much we need God's help for everything, and how God is always there to help us, because He's good, and He loves us, and He wants to see you and me grow in grace, to receive the healing of the eyes of our hearts, and to realize more and more just how good God really is. Thank you for listening to this episode of Contemplata. Be sure to like and subscribe and share with your friends. You'll find it wherever you listen to podcasts.